The Last of Us. Now, before I begin, let me just say, I know. I know this game came out ages ago, but, well, here we are. Now, The Last of Us was created by Naughty Dog. Now, if you don't know Naughty Dog, they made the Uncharted games. And this game is very similar to Uncharted. Not tone-wise, no, not quite. Uncharted's got a very light humour, a light-hearted tone. Last of Us is quite different. I mean, judging from the title, you know that Last of Us is going to have a grim tone. But the mechanics are very similar to Uncharted. The gameplay is very similar to Uncharted. Just the look of it is very similar. And if you think about the game L.A. Noire, how the facial expressions in that game were praised, I think the facial expressions in The Last of Us and the Uncharted games, Naughty Dog in general, I think they've really nailed their facial expressions because it's so realistic. Just when you see a character in Uncharted or The Last of Us be sad, they do a really good job of making that character sad or happy or anything. It's incredible that just the amount of work they've done in this, and it shows when you see the cutscenes for Naughty Dog's games. Now, what is The Last of Us about? Well, it's kind of like a post-apocalyptic game, sort of not quite zombie plague has spread across the world. Humanity are basically reduced to these little fortress cities where they're trying to. Well, they're in these fortress cities called quarantine zones, and they're trying to essentially carry on with this infection that's ravaging the planet. And you encounter all sorts of groups. One group, of course, is, well, not really a group, but one force, is the infected. Now, the infected are not quite zombies. They're kind of like the infected in 28 Days Later, where they run fast, only in this game they've got these giant mushroom-shaped faces, and, just you get these sort of fungus growth faces. It's quite gross and quite detailed. Other groups we get bandits, we get raiders, we get the military, we get another group called the Fireflies. Now, I'm not going to spoil any details about this game, so I'm going to give you like an overall description about what the story's about. So I'm going to try not to give any spoilers. So yeah, I mean, this game, it took a bit of a different tone, because initially when I heard of The Last of Us, I thought, well, as the title would suggest, The Last of Us, that it was just going to be the two main characters, Ellie and Joel. And the title, you could say, is a little bit misleading, because this world has no shortage of people. They've got plenty of humans around. So you could say that the title is a little bit misleading, perhaps, but that's just a very minor thing. But the story and the passion that these characters show in this video game is incredible. As soon as I got to the very end of the game, I had to finish it. Like, I had to finish what was going to happen at the very end. Now, at the very end, there's this hospital sequence where Ellie and Joel is carrying Ellie, and they're running through this hospital sequence, down these corridors, and you're controlling them, by the way. You're running down these corridors, trying to find the right end, and these guys are chasing you. And the music and just the build up to that a little bit was fantastic. It was done really well. I will say, however, that the very, very end, the last bit, just before the credits, I wasn't crazy about that last bit. Now, again, I'm not going to spoil what it is, but let's just say I think that they're very much setting up for a sequel. Now, that's fine in some ways, but I always like a story to be wrapped up nicely. And I think that from the amount of things you go through in this game, like all your encounters, all the fights you get into in this game, the amount of time you sink into this, I don't know, for me, it wasn't a very satisfying ending. Not that I say it should be a happy ending as such, but I don't know, it wasn't a very satisfying ending. So, like I said, I think at the end of this game, they are very much setting up for a sequel. So, you know, if we do get a second Last of Us, it'll be interesting to see what that game's like. Would I suggest you buy The Last of Us? Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially if you like Uncharted, because it's a true... I don't like to use this expression, but it is like playing a... You know, like you're playing a movie. Like, you know, you're in a movie, it's like you're watching a film, but you're playing it. You know, it's something like that. I mean, and even just the gameplay segments, you get wonderful storytelling moments in the gameplay segments, and I think very few games do that very well. And I think that The Last of Us, it is something special. It's definitely something special. Definitely one of the best games of this year, by far. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.